I'm Jimmy Fleck, I'm 15, and this is my story on bullying. For me, bullying means putting someone down for no apparent reason. So Startup Weekend is this thing where it's pretty much a business jumpstart, and two of my friends and I had been working on a web business for a while, and we thought this would be a good way to start it up. We had 3 people in our group. Well, at that moment, we were the youngest people there by like 30 years. And everybody else's group had like 6 or 7 people in it, and they had this whole plan. And we were 3 14-year-old kids. We didn't have high hopes for it at all. We just thought that we'd learn something. So at the beginning, there's a bunch of business ideas. We all pitch it, and the top 8 get to work on their business for the rest of the week. We were chosen as one of the top 8 because of our pitch. Our pitch was for a web-based server for games. For our business was for like internet games like Counter-Strike, Crossfire, Minecraft. We received the first place in the software division award for our company. That moment just kind of showed us that we had a lot of potential to go far with this company. When we received the award, we felt pretty good about ourselves. We thought that not many kids our age do this kind of thing, so we thought that if we can do this now, we can go pretty far in the future. Once we went back to school, everything was normal for about 3 weeks, and so the principal called us out of our classes and asked us if she could publish an article about our success in the school newspaper. And we said yes, we didn't think there would be any harm in it. So a few days after the article went in the paper, some kids started pestering me, calling me names like nerd and geek. They didn't affect me in my classes much. It was mostly in the hall between classes. No, I didn't know these kids. My biggest challenge really was ignoring them, because I tried to ignore them at first, but it was just ever present between every day at school. I didn't like it. I would pretend that I couldn't see them, and then they would be like, "Oh, the nerd must be in his reading classes," or something like that, and I didn't like that either. What of that? Why would you do that unless you had some great big reason why you had to put this guy down? I have no idea what the reasons could be. I don't think that people hate me. I don't think that I'm a dislikable person. I don't know why bullies work the way they do. This went on for about 3.5 weeks. I didn't talk to anybody about it because I didn't think that they could do anything to change it. I'd say my biggest worry in that period of time was other people starting to do that too. Well, to avoid it, I tried to take alternate routes to where I was going, but it always come back to me needing something from my locker area, which is where they would hang out. And I'm not necessarily sure that they were just waiting there. I think they also needed things from there, and when they saw me, they took the chance. When they saw me, they did it because they could. Just see them, if you're watching, you'd probably see them like any other kind of thing. Some kid's harassing another kid. Well, to deal with the bullying, they were a lot bigger than me, so I couldn't really intimidate them to make them back off. And so one day I was feeling frustrated. I looked on my shelf and I saw my pocket knife that I got from a camping trip that we took a few months ago. And so I thought, oh, maybe I can use this to make them back off. Yeah, I played out in my mind them doing the normal harassment, me pulling it out and saying back off, and them backing off and not talking to me again. When I saw the knife at home, I thought that, oh, this is not that big. It couldn't really hurt anybody, but it would still get the point across. So I had a few classes in the morning where I showed some of my friends and they told me to put it away. I should have listened to them. And then after my fourth period and between that and lunch, I was walking to my locker and the normal harassment started. And I never actually ended up showing it to them because I lost the nerve. And then after school, I was at the robotics club, and me and a kid had been going back and forth for a few days. And I made a comment that he didn't like, and he snapped. He stood up, and I thought that he was going to get physical, so I pulled out the knife and told him to back off. Then after that, somebody reported it to the school office. I thought it was all over and done because I didn't hurt anybody. And then the next week, I got called into the resource officer's office. I told the school about the bullying that was going on. I was suspended for the rest of the semester. My parents, after I heard that verdict, my parents came in and the officer talked to them for a little bit. I was not in the room. I'm sitting in this room alone for about an hour while the whole story is told to my parents. And during that time, I'm just thinking, what's going to happen? Are they going to disown me? Are they going to send me away? Are they going to what am I going to tell my brother and sister? And what am I going to tell my friends? And am I going to get into college? Just 1,000 things running through my mind. I was terrified of what my parents' reaction would be. Well, I thought my dad would just yell and scream and get all angry. And I thought my mom would just have that terrifying silence. Their real responses were helping understand what was going on and helping me get back on my feet. Well, I didn't tell my siblings about it for about 3 days. My parents just told them that I was homesick, and I don't think they thought twice about it until a few days after. I told them that I had made a huge mistake and that I wouldn't be going back to school for 2 months. My brother, who's close to my age, totally got it, and I'm not quite sure that my sister was at the age that she even really knew what caused me to do it. My dad pulls me aside and he wants me to tell my grandpa. And I do not want to tell my grandpa because I have no idea how he's going to react. And, well, he convinced me that if I didn't tell him and he found out later and he knew that he was right there and I didn't tell him, that he'd feel even worse. So I decided to tell him then. And to my surprise, he did not hate me. He did not call me a stupid kid. He understood, and he tried to help. As I was talking to them, felt kind of like when you're nervous, you feel this knot in your stomach, and it feels like you kind of want to throw up, but you don't, and you're shaking, and you're sweating. It doesn't feel good. I felt pretty nervous because I knew that my dad was still going to tell me, he was still going to make me tell all my other relatives. And that, well, once I saw them over the course of the next month, that I told all the rest of them, they had similar reactions. After I told the story each time, I felt like a little bit better. It wasn't the end of the world. That in a few months it would be over and I would go on. I hadn't talked to any of my friends since it happened, and I had no idea what they were thinking, if any rumors were flying. And so there was the question of my education. What was I going to do for the next 2 months? I was originally supposed to go to a school called Strive. It is a school for people who have been kicked out of school for behavioral problems but still need an education. That did not pan out. I ended up just taking my classes online and doing my work by email. About myself, I learned that these problems, they seem big now, but how long has it been now? 8 months later, it's like it never happened. Since this happened, I've been trusting my dad and my mom more, and just talking to them more about what's going on in my life. It's a good thing because I know that instead of remaining silent until the breaking point, I can talk to them and they can help fix it. I'm proud that I managed to do all the work and for most of my classes able to just jump right back in when I came back. I'm proud that I was able to tell my family and not have to wait until it was too late. If you're being bullied, tell someone and just don't do it alone. I would go to a counselor or to the resource officer, to my parents. Just tell them what's happening so that they can help. If you're a bully, I don't know why, but chances are you're also being bullied, and that's why you bully other people. So even if you are the bully, first things first, stop. They don't need that. And just talk to somebody. They can probably help you. For my future, I want to go to college and get a degree in software engineering. And I want to get a job somewhere in that business. I'm Jimmy Fleck. I'm strong.